Moon Knight, Marvel's most recent groundbreaking project, opened a new and exciting door in the Marvel Universe that had never been seen before. With Oscar Isaac in charge of the production, the show was an instant hit with audiences all over the world. In the series, Isaac's Mark Spector and Stephen Grant, who have a disorder called dissociative identity disorder, tried to stop the deaths of millions of people with the help of the Egyptian god they serve. Moon Knight brought up a lot of important issues that Marvel hadn't talked about before, like Isaac's portrayal of DID and the long overdue show of Egyptian culture and identities. Not only that, but the show's soundtrack and several lines of dialogue also became very popular on different social media sites. Due to Moon Knight's undeniable success, fans and audiences wanted to see more of the characters and their storylines, whether in a second season or in the wider MCU. But while fans wait patiently for news of Moon Knight's return, the most recent episode of Marvel's Assembled, The Making of Moon Knight, gave viewers a deeper look into how the show was made. So let's look at some interesting tidbits and behind-the-scenes secrets from the making of Moon Knight. As fans watch more and more of the show, the idea of ancient Egyptian mythology and the culture behind it becomes clearer and more important to the show. During the Moon Knight episode of Assembled, several key members of the Moon Knight team talked about how important this idea was. They wanted to be true to the comics that came before, but they also wanted to try something new and exciting that had never been done before in the MCU. Grant Curtis, who is the executive producer of Moon Knight, said, "If you look at his origin story in the comics, it has a lot to do with Egyptology, and I think that's what makes this different and unique." Kevin Feige brought this up very early on in the process of making the movie. Next, the first season of Moon Knight was different from the rest of Marvel's Phase 4 in that there were no direct references to the MCU or events from Marvel's other movies and TV shows. Aside from a few Easter eggs here and there, the lack of Avengers-related references was done on purpose.
My fist of vengeance as my...
It was a way to move the story forward without being limited by what had already been done before. Oscar Isaac, who plays the main character, Mark Spector / Stephen Grant / Jake Lockley, can't be argued with.
Night.
He really hit it out of the park with his role. Fans and critics from all over the world have praised how well he played a DID system on the show. This makes it clear that he was the best choice for the part. But before he was cast as the new mercenary turned Avatar, Isaac was asked many times by Marvel to join their huge movie universe. During one part of Assembled, Kevin Feige, who is in charge of Marvel, brought this up by saying that Isaac had been approached by Marvel several times before Moon Knight, but there had never been a good role for him until then. This is how Oscar Isaac prepared for the role, based on how complicated Mark Spencer's character and his different personalities are, and how well Isaac played him. It's clear that a huge amount of work went into making this happen.
Information has to be unlocked. It's coded.
At one point in Assembled, Isaac went into great detail about all the ways he prepared for the role. He talked about how researching DID was his top priority.
Look at me. This is real. I'm real.
No, it's not real.
Yes.
And even named some of the books that helped him learn more about the disorder. Isaac said, "There's a great book by Robert Oxnam called A Fractured Mind. It became my Bible because the author didn't find out he had DID until he was in his 40s.
I like the sound of that. Good. Glad we got that all sorted out.
At the start of the show, fans see it through the eyes of Stephen Grant, a British boy who is cute and awkward. Whether you like it or not, his slightly Oliver Twist-like British accent and mannerisms become a big part of the character. But what many people don't know about the sweet alter is that the idea to make him the nerdy Brit we see on screen came from Isaac himself. Before that, the character was written as an American.
Give me control, Stephen. You can't handle this.
During a scene in Assembled, Isaac brought this up by saying that he started playing around with the London accent when he found out that the first few episodes would be set there.
I have no idea.
The
Isaac then went on to talk about how much he loved playing Steven and how he even stayed in character between takes. During the course of the show, both Mark and Steven's other selves wear different costumes when they use the Moon Knight powers. Mark's Moon Knight costume is more traditional and based on the Egyptian god he serves. On the other hand, Steven's Mr. Knight costume is a more modern three-piece, all-white suit for a man. Isaac pointed out that the suits were supposed to be worn by the characters instead of the other way around, but that the characters were supposed to wear the suits. During a scene in Assembled, the actor said that Mark was supposed to wear the Mr. Knight suit at first, while Steven was supposed to wear the Moon Knight costume. But after Isaac did a great job of making Steven seem like a British gentleman, the showrunners decided that he should wear the Mr. Knight outfit. When the 4th episode of the show is over, Mark and Steven finally meet each other in their own bodies. Since both characters are played by Isaac, it would be physically impossible to film this scenario. Instead, a body double was used to get the feel of the scene. But Michael Hernandez, Isaac's journalist brother, filled in for Isaac in the roles. He wasn't just some random body double. In the last episode of the show, Layla, May Kalamaui, Mark's wife and the show's badass female lead, changes into the Scarlet Scarab, Marvel's first Egyptian superhero. The character did not always go in this direction though. At the end of the Assembled documentary, the visionary director of Moon Knight, Mohamed Diab, explained how the character turned out to be the hero in the end. He said, "The Scarlet Scarab wasn't the first part of the show, but as May became more and more like an Egyptian, the idea slowly came to mind. Let's give her superpowers. Right now, Marvel is the world to a lot of people," he said later. "Kids, teens, if you're a part of that world, it means you exist." Representation, to be honest. When someone like this fights for what is right on screen, it brings people together. Marvel is known for creating an environment where people can work together and be creative. It also encourages its actors to develop their roles by making suggestions and adding ideas to the story. With May Kalamaui, the actors in the Moon Knight series went one step further. Kalamaui said that she often talked with Kirby and Sharp for 6 hours or more after each episode was done about possible changes, additions, and plot developments. She liked how freely they shared ideas, as if they had agreed to be co-creators of their own roles. Lastly, the journey of Mark Spector's latest TV show is full of twists, turns, and exciting new developments, so fans were not disappointed. When the Egyptian hippo goddess Taweret made her first appearance at the end of episode 4, fans were thrilled. Antonia Salib, who plays Taweret, posted a behind-the-scenes picture of herself standing outside on set while dressed as Taweret on Instagram. It seems that Marvel will do its absolute best to expand more on Egyptian heroes, which is sure to be a hit with the fans. Well, that is all the time we had for today. Till next time, cheers.